One of my followers on Facebook asked me to explain this, and I'm going to break it down a little bit based on psychology. One of the reasons why the Pope at the time, I forget his name, had commissioned a portrait of his son to be the representation of Jesus, which this is Caesar Borgia, was the mere fact that at this time frame you had the Caucasians in charge of Christianity. The Caucasians were the rulers of Christianity, the teachers of Christianity, the doctrine. They constituted the doctrine of Christianity. The problem that you have is that all over the world, if the Africans had a god, that god looked like the Africans. If the Asians had a god, that god looked like the Asians. If the indigenous Americans had a deity, it looked like them. European was faced with a challenge in the fact that they were worshiping a deity that did not look like them, when previously they had always worshipped deities that looked like them. Zeus, Jupiter, Odin, Thor, they all look like them. Atticus, they all look like them. But now they've moved over into a god that comes from an area where that god does not look like them. That god is a much darker person. Irregardless of the incursion of the Greeks and incursion of the Romans, their god would have been looking like the people of the Middle East, which would have been a darker brown people. And at this time frame, they're fighting the Arabs, darker brown people. They are getting slaves out of northern Africa, the early parts of sub-Saharan Africa. They don't look like them. That god looks like that god looks like those people. So in order to help the European consciousness to be able to conquer people, fight wars against people, and enslave people that looks like their deity, he commissioned a portrait to make the deity look more like them. And in doing so, the Europeans felt more comfortable in conquering the browner people, because now their god is lighter skinned like them, so it makes sense for them to conquer people who does not worship the lighter skinned god, but a darker skinned god. That's a dual psychosis there. That's a dual philosophy there. That's a dual psychology there, because you're making the Europeans feel comfortable and is giving them the advantage of saying it's okay for us to do what we're doing to the Africans, to the Indians, to the Chinese, to everybody else, to the Arabs. The other part of it is that as you enslave these people, as you conquer these people, and they come under your rule, they will then, and they come under your religion as well, they will then relate God to their rulers. And if they relate God to their rulers, then they're more likely to obey their rulers and not